Let's read our Disney.
Well, I promised Shy that I would read her this. Okay, so I'm going to read the in crowd first.
Because that thing is too long, right?
Huh?
That thing's too long, right? Daddy, could I sign that though?
Okay, come on. Up we go. Hunter, have we found your tape player yet, buddy? I always ask you. Yeah, well, I'd like to find it. That's why. Hey, you know something I read in the instructions today, buddy, on the on your bubble bomber? It's only to be used outside. That those bubbles will stain the carpet and stain the couches and things. So you can't use it inside, okay? If you want to run the bubbles in it, you take it out.
Okay.
All righty. Let's turn this on, huh? Oh, it's already on. It's already rolling. Okay, here we go. We're going to read Berenstain Bears and the In Crowd. This is a book. We got 2 new books the other day when we were at Crown, didn't we? And I don't know where Hunter's book went. I want to read it, too, because it really looked like a funny book. Anyway, Berenstain Bears. And it says it was early summer in Bear Country School. And in Bear Country. And school had been out for a few weeks, and Brother and Sister Bear had settled into a comfortable routine of bike riding and playing ball and exploring and just having fun. Look at this. That's what you're going to have in summertime, aren't you? School's just about done. Time for fun.
Is it 2 more weeks?
Yeah, about 2 more weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, today's what? Today is the 3rd of June, one day after your 7-year-old birthday. We had quite a birthday party yesterday, didn't we? We're going to have the big birthday party, though, on Saturday, but yesterday Hunter got all these new presents, Micro City set, which we haven't even gotten together yet, and a bubble bomber.
And walkie-talkies and Legos. And Ninja Turtles and Little Dalmatian video games.
You got all kinds of things. You really did get a lot.
Walkie-talkie.
You like those walkie-talkies, don't you, Shay?
Yeah.
And Hunter is doing fabulous on the Lego, the Blacktron. He's putting together this neat vehicle. We have to get that together, the rest of it, don't we? Okay, now back to this. They had chores, of course, keeping their room neat and helping with yard cleanup. And when he got very busy helping Papa Bear in his shop. Mostly, though, they were looking forward to a carefree summer of fun and relaxation. But sometimes the road ahead is not as smooth as we would like it to be. And sometimes there are unexpected potholes in the road of life, and Sister Bear, as it turned out, was headed for a real wheelbuster. Here, sweetie, I've got to reposition you. I can't see. You got your head right in front of my head, okay? There we go. Now, when school closed, the playground was the gathering place for Brother and Sister, and the neighborhood cubs, all the other kids. It had swings and slides and a jungle gym and a track and a sandbox for the little cubs, and there were also jump ropes and frisbees and frisbees.
I know, it's better frisbees.
Yeah, frisbees and soccer balls you could get from Miss Mack, who was in charge. We played frisbee on the beach the other day, didn't we?
And in the frisbee was when the water.
Yeah.
When the water didn't go out all the way.
I know, you were really good at it, too. Mommy and Daddy went to Miami over the weekend and worked, and we came home, and it was Memorial Day, so we just gathered up some food and went right to the beach, didn't we, and just hung out. And Daddy fell asleep on a blanket, and the tide came in and splashed me.
Yeah, I didn't believe it got all the way up there.
It just came right up on top of Daddy. I don't know. Why did you let that happen, Shy?
Well, when we were going to get some chips and Jason, just got us.
Did it surprise you too? Did you get wet when it came up, Shy, or did you run?
I got wet.
And did you try to run?
Yeah.
Did you try to run, Hunter?
No, because me and Sam are stuck together. I didn't even know him.
Yeah. It says on most days, Sister would stop off for her best friend, Lizzie Bruin, and they would go to the playground together. And after a swing and a slide or two, they would get a jump rope from Miss Mack. And lately, they'd been getting 2 jump ropes for double Dutch. Now, I guess that's the way that you play a special game. Oh, okay, here's what they do. See, they go like that. That's in double Dutch, the jumper jumps over 2 ropes that are being turned in opposite directions. It isn't easy, but Sister and Lizzie and some of their friends have been practicing, and they were getting pretty good. So see, this jump rope is going around that way, and this one's going around this way.
I don't want to spin it, not jump in it.
I think I'd be with you. Well, that's what...
it, not jump in it.
Is that right? You too?
Yeah.
It says that's what was happening the day that the trouble started. Sister and Lizzie had 2 ropes and were looking for other cubs to join them. But where was everybody? Where were Anna and Millie and Linda and their usual jump mates? And as they looked around, they spied a small crowd at the far corner of the playground near the bike rack. That's when Anna ran by. "How about a little double Dutch?" called Sister. "Can't now," shouted Anna. "There's a new club with a terrific 10-speed bike, and she's letting us take turns riding it." New cub, huh? Okay, some new girl. When they say that, it's a new girl. It sounded interesting, and even though Sister and Lizzie were a little bit small for 2-wheelers, they decided to investigate. And the new cub not only had a pretty sharp bike, it was purple and had 10 speeds and handbrakes, and, well, she was pretty sharp herself. She wore purple stretch pants and a designer top and a yellow headband, and she had hoop earrings. "Her name was Queenie McBear," whispered Anna, "and she just moved into the neighborhood. She has pierced ears." Sorry, Anna has pierced ears. Mm-hmm. Well, Sister pushed through the crowd, gave the newcomer, who was taller than she was and a little older, a big smile and said, "Hi, I'm Sister Bear." And Queenie smiled too, but it wasn't exactly friendly. "Sister Bear," she said. "Now what kind of a name is that? And you've got to be kidding with those clothes, a pink ruffled jumper and a hair bow." "Well," Sister said, a little confused, "it's my kind of name, and as for my clothes..." "Why don't you and your little friend go play in the sandbox?" interrupted Queenie, not giving Sister a chance to finish. Then she got on her bike and shouted, "Come on, gang! Let's go to the Dairy Bear for some soft ice cream, my treat." And off she zoomed down the road. Now the jumper mates, Anna, Millie, and Linda, looked a little embarrassed, but soft ice cream was soft ice cream. So they got on their bikes with the rest, and they followed Queenie down the road. Now Sister was very confused and upset, too. Look at her. She's very sad, isn't she? "I don't get it," said Lizzie. "All you did was say hi." "Say, I know what," she added, trying to cheer her up. "I heard that Miss Mack is organizing a double Dutch tournament with prizes and everything. Come on, let's go sign up." Well, Sister Bear didn't even answer. She was so upset that she just turned and went home. Now, she was usually so cheerful after a session at the playground that it didn't take long for Mama Bear to figure out that something must have gone wrong, and Papa and Brother Bear noticed it too. So here they are. They're all eating at the table, and look at, what does Sister Bear look like?
That's me.
That's you.
That's me.
Yeah, why are you looking like that, so sad? Because Queenie was mean to you?
Yeah.
Look at that. Gee, you look sad. Oh, look at poor little Cheyenne Sister Bear. Well, now, after supper, the whole story of Queenie came out. Her bike, her sharp clothes, and how she'd made fun of Sister and then even treated everybody to soft ice cream. "Everybody except me and Lizzie," she said glumly. "Well, why did she make fun of your clothes?" asked Mama. "My name, my clothes, my hair bow, me." "Oh, dear," said Mama. "That wasn't very nice. Not very nice at all. Maybe she was just trying to make an impression." "Well, she certainly made an impression on me," said Sister. "A bad impression." Of course, Mama had been a cub once, and she knew about the in crowds and cubs like Queenie, who tried to build themselves up by putting other cubs down. But she also knew that it didn't do much good to stew about it, so she gave Sister a hug and said, "Don't fret, sweetie. I'm sure things will look a lot brighter in the morning." Well, things did look a lot brighter in the morning, and Sister Bear was once again her confident self, and she decided that today she would ride her trike to the playground. The playground was just as much hers as Queenie's, and besides, she wanted to ask Miss Mac about that Double Dutch tournament. It sounded interesting, and maybe Queenie wouldn't even be there. Well, Queenie was not only there. She and the gang, excuse me, she and the gang were riding around the track on their bikes. And when Sister tried to join in, all she got for her trouble was a cloud of dust and more of Queenie's smart talk. Well, if it isn't little Miss Hairbow on her tricycle. Excuse our dust, she shouted as she whizzed past, and all that dust went all over Cheyenne.
Oh, no, that's smoke.
That's smoke and dust. Excuse her dust, indeed, thought Sister, getting an idea. I'll show that Queenie Big Bear. And she pedaled home as fast as she could, and she hoped that Brother Bear wasn't out riding his big two-wheeler, because that was her idea, to borrow his bike and go back and ride circles around that Queenie Bear. Well, so she got out Brother's bike, and it was standing on a step, and she almost got it going, but her legs were a little too short, and after a few wobbly circles, she crashed. Oh, dear, said Mama, who had just returned from a quick shopping trip to the mall, and she was watching from one of the treehouse windows. She had a pretty good idea that Sister's attempt to ride the two-wheeler had something to do with Queenie and the in-crowd. Okay, let's see here. I guess you had another run-in with that new cub, she said, as Sister came into the house. Well, there's a little something to cheer you up. And she reached into her shopping bag, and she took out some new clothes. Some new and different clothes for Sister Bear. And she said, there was some very sharp jeans, and a green and white striped designer top, and a bright green headband. For me? Said Sister. Of course, said Mama. Come on now. Let's try them on, you know. And she continued to help Sister out of her pink ruffled jumper and her polka dot blouse and into the new outfit. Maybe these new things will change your life. Maybe, agreed Sister. But then she asked, Mama, why did Queenie Bear pick on me like that? And, well, said Mama thoughtfully, sometimes there are cubs and even grown-ups who behave that way. They show off for the crowd by picking on someone who has a certain kind of a name or wears a certain kind of clothes, and they try to build themselves up by putting other people down. That's how in-crowds get started. And how about Anna, Millie, and Linda, asked Sister? They always been my friends. Why did they side with Queenie? Well, maybe because they were glad Queenie wasn't picking on them. And soft ice cream is soft ice cream. There, she said, removing Sister's pink hair bow and putting on her new headband. You're all set. Here, have a look at yourself in the mirror. Oh, Sister thinks she looks great. It's very nice, Sister said, and I really appreciate the new things, but there's only one problem. It's just not me. I like me, she said as she stepped down, and she wouldn't change me for a whole bunch. I wouldn't change me for a whole bunch of Queenie Bears. And then she took off her new outfit and put her old one back on, and her hair bow and all. And she can have her old in-crown. Excuse me, Mama, I have to make a phone call. And she marched over the phone and dialed a number. Hello, Lizzie, she said. How about a Double Dutch tournament? Well, the Double Dutch tournament had gotten to be a big thing, and a whole lot of teams signed up, and there were even some boy club teams. Brother Bear was on one, along with Cousin Fred and the Too Tall Gang. And when Sister and Lizzie signed up, Anna, Millie, and Linda quit Queenie's team and joined Sister's. Not only was Sister the best Double Dutcher in the neighborhood, but Anna and the others were getting a little tired of Queenie's snooty ways. So, Sister Bear led her team in as fine exhibition of Double Dutch jumping as had ever been seen in Bear County. It was no contest. Her team won going away. Queenie's team was a double Dutch disaster, especially Queenie, who made a mistake of wearing beads and big hoop earrings, and they caught the rope, and they ended up in a terrible tangled mess. And so after the prizes were awarded, the cubs all crowded around and congratulated Sister. They wanted her to teach them some double Dutch tricks. And they lined up for lessons. Lizzie called out to Queenie, "How about you, Queenie?" "No, thanks," said Queenie with a little grin. "I've already learned my lesson." And that's the end of the book. That's a pretty good book, I guess. A little old for you, maybe, Pumpkin Pie, but it's a nice book. It pays to be nice to people, doesn't it? How did you like the unicorn tape today?
Good.
Did you like it? Did you listen to all of it? You like the story? Okay. Oh, boy, it's already 9:30. But we'll read some Disney shows. Here, let's go down here. Come on. Nobody can see here very well. Let's take it down here on the floor.
Movie letters.
Put this over here and this over here.
Wonder if he could take both.
Could take, to school tomorrow? He can take whatever he wants for show and tell, right? Does she always give you time to talk about things? Does she let everybody show their stuff?
Yeah.
What did everybody say about your bug shirt?
No. Miss Asher loved it.
She loved it?
Someone else was wearing the Ocean ABCs.
The Ocean ABCs, really?
Yeah.
Bug ABCs. I think it's neat. Mrs. Asher really liked it. Did you tell her it was from a birthday present from your grandma?
No.
You didn't tell her, huh?
I want to read this.
Okay, we're going to read the Bunny Book, huh? All righty.
Bunny.
So Walt Disney's Bunny Book. All right, Daddy's going to lay down in here.
It's the Easter one. The Easter
It
one.
looks to me like it is, isn't it,
See,
Susan?
it is Easter.
Okay, it says, deep in the woods, where the briar bushes grow, lies Bunnyville, a very little bunny rabbit town. And in the very center of that busy little town stands a cottage, a neat twig cottage with a neat brown roof that is known to all as the very own home of Great Grandpa Bunny Bunny. Now, Great Grandpa Bunny Bunny, as everybody knows, was the ancestral founder of the town. And he liked to tell the young bunnies who always gathered around how he and Mrs. Bunny Bunny, when they were very young, had found that very briar patch and built themselves that very nice little twig house. Now, it was a happy life they lived there deep in the woods, bringing up their bunny family in the little house of twigs. Of course, Daddy Bunny Bunny, as he was called then, was busy at his job decorating Easter eggs, because that's what he did. As the children grew up, they helped to paint Easter eggs, and soon they were all grown-ups with families of their own, and they built a ring of houses all around their parents' home. And by, they had a town there, and they called it Bunnyville. And now, Grandpa Bunny Bunny looked for other jobs to do, and he taught the young folk to paint flowers in the woods, and he tried out new shades of green on mosses and ferns, and they made these woods so beautiful that people said the soil must be especially rich. But the bunnies knew that it was all Grandpa Bunny Bunny's doing. Years went by, and there were still more families in Bunnyville, and Grandpa Bunny Bunny had grown to be Great Grandpa Bunny Bunny, and he had so much help that he looked around for other jobs to do, and he taught the bunnies to paint autumn leaves. So they paint the leaves pretty colors in the fall. And throughout the woods they scampered with their brushes and their pails, and people would say to themselves, "Never has there been so much color in these woods, and the nights might be especially frosty hereabouts." But the bunnies knew that it was all Great Grandpa's plan. And so it went. As the seasons rolled around, there were constantly more bunnies in that busy Bunnyville, and Great-Grandpa was busy finding jobs for them to do. And he taught them in the winter to paint shadows in the snow and pictures in frost on wintry window panes, and to polish up the diamond lights and glittering icicles. And between times, he told stories to each crop of bunny young. And around the cozy fire in the neat little twig house, the bunny children loved him and his funny bunny tales, and they loved the new and different things that he found for them to do. And at last, it did seem as if he'd thought of everything. He had crews of bunnies trained to paint the first tiny buds of spring, and he had teams who waited beside cocoons to touch up the wings of new butterflies, and some specialized in beetles and some in creepy crawling things. And they had painted up the whole wildlife wood until it just sparkled and gleamed. And the bunnies wondered what he would think of next. Well, Great-Grandpa stayed at home a lot those days and thought and thought and thought, and at last he told a secret that season to that season's bunny boys and girls. And he said, "Children," this is Great-Grandpa Bunny now, he said, "I'm going to go away, and I'll tell you what my next job will be if you'll promise not to say." And so the children, the bunny children, promised. And Great-Grandpa went away, and the older bunnies missed him, and often they looked sad, but the bunny children only smiled and looked extremely wise, for they knew a secret they had promised not to tell. Then one day, a windy rainstorm pelted down on Bunnyville, and everyone scampered speedily home and stayed cozy and dry indoors, and after a while, the rain slowed down to a single dripping drop, and then the front door opened, and out the bunny children ran. "Oh, it's true!" the bunnies shouted, and they did a bunny dance. "Great-Grandpa's been at work again. Come and see what he's done." And the people walked out that day, and they looked up in pleased surprise. "Have you ever," they cried, "simply ever seen a sunset so gorgeously bright?" And the little bunnies heard them, and they chuckled silently, for they knew that it was all Great-Grandpa Bunny's plan. And that's the end of the story. He went away, and he made bright sunsets. Is that a good story?
Yeah.
You like it?
Yeah.
How are we doing on tape, mister?
Still got some tape.
We do? Okay, well, let's look at something else. Donald Duck and the Witch? What's that about?
I don't want. Let's read this.
Diane has had enough after seeing Poltergeist 3 tonight. You decided you had enough? Mommy's out shopping, getting everything ready for Hunter's big birthday party on Saturday up in Solstice Canyon.
That's the story.
Yeah, well, let's read the story.
What is she getting?
All the stuff for your party.
What?
I don't know. Whatever it is she needs. It says, it was getting on toward Halloween, and Donald Duck and his nephews were hunting for pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns. Look, Cheyenne. Oh, honey, it's okay. And the day was almost over, and red and gold clouds were piling up in the sky when they found a field that was full of pumpkins, perfect for them. And they were walking back to the farmhouse, each with a round, ripe pumpkin in his arms, when Huey stopped them all with a shout. "Hey, look! A witch on a broomstick!" he cried, and they saw a dark form streak across the sky. "Pooh," said Donald. "Witches, pooh. There are no witches, you know that. It must have been some sort of bird you saw." But the boys were not convinced, and so the next day they set out to look for the witch. And they had a long, hard walk through the tangled woods. There was no path to follow, and they were not even sure just what they hoped to find. And at last they heard a cackling laugh. And what could it be? It certainly must be a witch cackling, a cackling laugh. "Shh," said Dewey. And with his fingers on his lips, He led the way through the underbrush into the clearing beyond. And there stood a crooked little house, clearly the home of a witch. And from the crooked little chimney rose a thread of smoke. And smoke and steam rolled up in clouds from a cauldron out front. This is a cauldron, a big pot. And through the smoke came the merry, scary sound of that cackling laugh of the witch. Welcome, boys. Welcome, said the witch. Welcome to Witch Hazel's little house. And then she came hobbling towards them, a merry little sprite, grinning with witchery glee. And the boys were speechless with surprise. What can I do for you today? Oh, no, that's the witch. What can I do for you today? Witch Hazel asked of them. Any spells you'd like me to cast? Anybody who'd like to be witch? And then she poked Louis in the ribs while she gave him a sly wink. Witch? Echoed Louis. Cast spells? Said Dewey. Uncle Donald! Cried Huey. Well, they all agreed. They told Witch Hazel how Donald refused to believe in witches. Well, Donald Duck doesn't believe in witches. Okay, we'll show him. From the pockets of her dress, she tossed bits of this and that into the steaming pot. A real witch's brew. Oh, my goodness. We'll show that, Donald. Witch Hazel vowed, you meet me here on Halloween. And home went the boys, and they said not a word of their adventure to Donald Duck. And Donald was not surprised when the boys disappeared early on Halloween. And he was not surprised when the doorbell rang soon after dark that night. And there beneath the porch light stood the boys, and Donald chuckled as he recognized them through their disguises. They were all dressed as witches, one and all. Come in, said Donald with a grin, holding his door open wide. And they parked their broomsticks beside the door, and Donald rubbed his eyes as he thought he saw one jump. And then it couldn't have been. The broomstick couldn't have jumped. And in came the witches. 1, 2, 3. No. There were 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh.
How many was it? Why were there 4?
Well, the 3 kids were all dressed up as witches, but the real witch came too. Donald was surprised, but he didn't say a word as they all took their seats around the room. Treats, he asked, passing a tray of fancy little cakes. Ouch! Cried Dewey as he reached for one first, and a mousetrap was stuck on his thumb. Wow! Cried Louie, who reached for the next, and it turned out to be a jack-in-the-box. Glub! Glubbed Huey when he bit into his, and it was made of rubber. Oh, Donald's tricking them all. He's not really giving them good Halloween treats, is he? Thanks, said the 4th guest with a cackling laugh, and she blew at her cake, and it exploded into dust right before Donald's eyes. Serves you right, smarty, said a voice. Donald whirled around. There were only the jack-o'-lanterns sitting there, grinning saucily, but as Donald looked, it seems to him that the merry faces in the jack-o'-lanterns moved. We must be leaving now, one witch said. Won't you come with us and let us return your hospitality? No, thanks, said Donald, clinging to the doorknob as they all swept him onto the porch. It was 4 against 1, and he soon found himself astride a broomstick. Abracadabra, boys, here we go! And all around him he saw broomsticks fly, and to his horror Donald saw the ground slink away as he shot up into the air over the treetops straight toward the moon, riding on a broomstick. And then it pointed down at the woods and started to drop down, whoop, and it landed right by Witch Hazel's little house. And down tumbled Donald right into the witch's pot. Ho, 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 laughed the other three, and he knew they were his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. But Donald gasped, and he sputtered, and he sizzled with rage, and when they hauled him out soaking wet to the skin, and the witches did not notice. They were all doubled over, shaking with laughter, and Witch Hazel disappeared into her little house and came back with an extra dress and a hat. "Better put on something dry," she told Donald with a grin, and he stamped off into the house. And when she came out again, a table was set close behind the bubbling pot, and 3 jack-o'-lanterns glowed on a Halloween feast of pumpkin pie, apple tarts, corn on the cob, and all sorts of delicious things to eat. "Have a real treat, Uncle Donald," the nephews said, lifting off their masks. And so they all sat down and ate their fill, even Witch Hazel, too. And after a while, even Donald could smile. "I still don't believe in witches," he said to Witch Hazel with a courtly bow, "but if there were any, well, I'd want them to be just like you." And that is the end of the story. Is that kind of a silly story or what? Huh?
We don't have much tape.
We don't have much tape left? Oh, we don't have any tape left. It's all gone.